Hello everyone. Good evening, first of all, and I hope you all are doing good and are safe. So my name is Priyanka, and I welcome you all to this webinar. And before we begin with the talk, I would like to give you a little introduction about our speakers. That is Mr. Nikhil Verma and Mr. Tushar Deshmukh. So you all might have heard of NCube. It is one of the very few design firms in India that has diversified and focused on the process of design. He is the founder and director of NCube. Nikhil has also managed and led the development of Department of Research Center of Shenzhen Institute for Innovative Design. He has also worked as a consultant editor, editor for Blue in Art Info, and as a senior researcher for Business Today magazine. He was a researcher at Darling Kindersley, and I hope I've pronounced it right. I think it's Kindersley, right? Yeah. And director of business development at Rudraksha Design Studio. Overall, he is a really strong arts and design professional who has demonstrated a history of working in the industrial design and automotive design industry. So today he is going to talk about the importance of user experience in industrial design. We also have Mr. Tushar Deshmukh. UXExperts is one of the top 10 user experience service provider company in India, and Tushar is founder and CEO of UXExperts. He is also the director of UXUITrainingLab, which provides professional training in human-computer interaction, usability, user psychology, user research, prototyping tools, and front-end development in various languages. And Tushar is working towards many more courses related to UX to be launched soon. Through this platform, he is not only training people, but also provides jobs as well as entrepreneurship opportunities to his students. He is a visiting professor at Symbiosis Institute of Design and has given speeches at various other conferences. He has been working in the field for more than 18 years, and he has worked as developer, designer, researchers, and whatnot. I mean, almost every phase of product development. He is a director at Amplify Reach and works as a UX consultant for various other companies. He is also a founder of Organize My Hotel. So these are our speakers today, and I will hand over to Tushar. So he'll be speaking. Yeah.
Thank you, Priyanka. Okay, so I think people are joining. So today I have welcomed Nikhil once again, and we are talking so long to be happen this thing, and we are discussing a lot of UX and everything. And so uh, today we are actually speaking through this platform. Okay, so as Priyanka said, today's our topic is importance of UX in industrial design. So I will not take more time, and I will hand over to Nikhil, but I will just give few things I will tell about what exactly this all about UX talks and to just for 5 minutes. So basically, see, UX is my passion, and everyone today here are passionate about user experience study and everything. Uh, when I started my career, so it was like a user experience. It was very new. I think almost now 18 plus year I'm working with this. So today, specifically, I'm not. So a lot of activities I do in UX, but today I'm talking about specifically about this UX talks we started. Um in the lockdown, there is a lot of people want to learn many things, and so we are, I think, 4 or 5 webinars we already have taken with different subjects, starting from user psychology to UX motion, even how to do freelancing in UX. We cover a lot of subjects during this. And our last UX talk is about UX Training Lab. We are going to, in collaboration with European leading certification, so that is UXQCC. So soon we are going to launch that program, and uh, we are definitely details will come next week. So basically, US Talk is a platform which I want to create. So where they always say कि UX is not only about web or it is not only about a mobile, but unfortunately in industry, people are more talking about web or only mobile. So that's why Nikhil and me, we are talking many times long back regarding this. And so when I started this particular initiative for UX Talk, uh, I think a couple of months back, I think we discussed on this. And last talk with Hannes, that was also get people are he talked about how the UX certification and UX courses in Indian market and global market. So that was now today Nikhil is going to talk about how research in UX processes, how design as how they got evolved starting from like how human history and everything, and how research is very important in every aspect of design process. So he's sharing his experience. So I will ask Nikhil to, you can start. And you can start with your little bit about journey first, because every journey I think is inspirational for everyone. So you can start with your journey as how you started your career and how you end up in the design field and how you are facing challenges first. And then definitely we can start with your main topic today, which you are covering. Okay, so you can start with this.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Tushar. And I have to say, you have sort of set up this brilliant platform. You know, it's good to talk design. It's always good to talk design. You know, and I think it is one of the important characteristics also for design is to talk about it.
Right.
And I have repeatedly also said this many a times. You know, wherever I go, I speak, I meet a lot of people. I always tell them that, you know, the future of design lies in collaboration. And as much as we collaborate, you know, even between multidisciplinary designers, that's where the innovation lies. You know, that is where the innovation lies. And it is also good to, you know, now see things started to happen and move around. You know, now even our government has come up with this unique new education policy, you know, that focuses on bringing this multidisciplinary attitude even to schools, you know, so that
Right.
kids can start early, you know, have multidisciplinary approaches, you know, just not focus on engineering or just core design or just, you know, medical science, but also focus on several other aspects that make you a better human being. And I think being a good designer is also about being a better human being. You know, I feel that personally. And thank you so much. You've given me this opportunity to talk here.
Welcome. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so basically, you know, what I'd like to start off with is, you know, what design is to me, what I have been doing so far, and how I have reached here, and what I do, you know, what we do. So Priyanka spoke about NCube. NCube is an entity that we created back in 2012, and we've been focusing more since then in the area of automotive design. You know, so just like any other, you know, any other student, I started off studying journalism. You know, that's where I did my graduation. So I studied my graduation from Dublin Institute of Technology, Ireland. That is where I studied, and I was, you know, I had everything framed up in my mind that I'm going to be one of the best journalists India has ever seen, and, you know, things like that. You know, we all do that. But yeah, things sort of started changing when the whole face of media started changing for me, you know. So I was always focused on the print media. Print media has been one of the best mediums, you know, since the time of our independence. When India first became independent, print media played a very important role. You know, newspapers, magazines, you know, they help in opinion formation, and that's how it started, and it went off really well till the time I realized that, you know, media has kind of lost its place. You know, and over the years I saw products degrading. I have been very happy to be part of so many projects that have been doing well and are still in circulation. But nevertheless, so I made a shift to hardcore design once I got a scholarship to study at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University in Hong Kong, School of Design. That is where I did my post graduation in international design and business management. And soon after, I spent a decent amount of time in Hong Kong, worked with various organizations, got a chance to work on really good projects. I also, for a very brief amount of time, but did work with 3M Japan. And after that, I made my move to China, mainland China. I got an opportunity to work with Shenzhen Institute for Innovation and Design as their design director. And that's when things completely changed for me. I mean, China, as much as, right now, the world is hating it. I can totally relate to that. But let me be very honest with you. China has done brilliantly when it comes to industrialization. And I'm talking about hardcore industrial design. Earlier, how China started off getting into this industrial design is basically by copying things, and that's how we know China, right? They copied everything. They copied stuff from the West, and then but the thing is that, one thing that China learned through copying is how to make a product. That always helps, even if you copy. So copying is not bad as long as you have the capacity to innovate. Right. And I always talk to students, wherever we go, we have this new entity which we call as the Bridge School, through which we are focusing and targeting with a lot of industrial designers. With a lot of industrial designers, and we are trying to train them on industry standards. That is where our focus lies. So, this massive opportunity that I got in China sort of helped me figure out the future of industrial design for India. So I've been there, worked there for almost 3 years, and that is when I started to realize that what I was missing is my own country. That so much that I've learned. I could have always implemented it in China, and we still work with China. I do a lot of projects for China even now, and Southeast Asia. But my focus since the beginning has always been the East. It has never been the West. A lot of people talk about, when they talk about learning design, they want to go to Europe, or maybe the UK, or maybe the US. That was never a focus for me. My focus, I don't know, maybe I'm more inclined towards the East because I love this culture. I love our culture. I love our people. We have such multicultural, country in India. And also this other aspect of, doing things more. I think more than the West, the East needs, people like you and me, or people, who are now at least, wanting to study, wanting to change their attitude towards life and look at design as a potential career. So I feel that, East has a lot to offer. East has a lot of challenges, yes, but East also has a lot to offer. We look at countries like Indonesia and Malaysia. They have so much to offer, because they still need innovation. I'm not talking about Japan because Japan is on a different level, but of course, then you have China, we have Myanmar, we have Thailand, we have India. Anyways, I think I would rather now show you something so that show everyone here something so that they can start to relate. And I'm going to start talking about design and what design means to me. And let me share my screen. Am I viewable to everyone? I hope.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the importance of UX in industrial design. And the thing is, we talk about products, and most of the times people relate with, when it comes to UX, they mostly relate it with digital products. But
Right.
for me, that's never the case, and I'll tell you why. Because every product we own, every physical product that we design, has to have a certain experience that it imparts to its users, and various stakeholders in the ecosystem. So it's not just about the direct stakeholders that is going to use that product, but it's also about multiple stakeholders that are involved in creating an environment. I mean, right now the best example I can give you is Apple. The way Apple has sort of designed that ecosystem around itself. It's brilliant as a strategy, as a business strategy. But what's also important is that we fulfill the needs of each and every stakeholder, direct, indirect, or core. Idea is to fulfill the need of the user, and how we do that. So so let me start by showcasing a video, and this is a very interesting video. I just hope that there are some aspects of design that this guy talks about, and I'd like to for everyone to see this. So I'm just playing this video.
Design has become a fetish, and it's understandable. No other discipline contributes to the positivity of mankind such as design. Design is everywhere. It's in the mug you get your coffee. It's in the handle of your car. It's in the sound your shoes make against fine-grained wood. Only designers can truly understand people. You might even say designers are the only real people at the company. Product managers, they're not people. They're walking checklists. And engineers, they're just cogs in the machine. Cogs that couldn't even pick out a real Ames chair from some 2-bit piece from IKEA. And this shit is real. Designers know that. The worst thing you can tell a designer is, hey, go make this pretty for me. Pretty is an adjective, and design is a fucking verb. Designers make things come to life. We curate the world. That's why sometimes I just stand outside and look up at the rain to truly be present. Design is about spontaneity, rhyme with serendipity, finding where serendipity and spontaneity rhyme with synchronicity. It's making your life symmetrical, whether it's in your work and your hobbies, even your Instagrams, whether it's a vintage car against the sunset or one of your fuck buddies looking out over the city. The hardest thing about being a designer, exercising constant empathy, takes a huge toll on your emotional reservoir. Everyone wants to be a designer, but not everyone can. You need to bleed for it. Real design comes from people. Talk to them. You have to grab them, shake them, make them tell you what they want. You don't hear what they want from a store, from a corporation. That's why everything in my house, books, clothing, shoes, condoms, it's all from Kickstarter. The future of design is interfaceless. That's why I've named my dog Gesture, to remind me of the looming future of UX. Good gesture. Design is just in your nature. You either have it or you don't. You either understand the kerning and beveled edges of life or you don't. If you're lucky to be born with this talent, you have a responsibility to hone it, master it, and use it to create experiences for the delight and pleasure of others. And that's why I have a golden ratio tattoo on my dick that keeps the exact same scale at every inch.
All right, so I just wanted to sort of frame a question to everyone before we start this further. And I just want everyone to sort of just talk to themselves and think about, what do you see here? What is it that we see here? And we can think about the answer later. We can maybe talk about the answer later. Maybe you can You can drop me some messages. That'd be great. So what exactly is design? I mean, people talk about it a lot. These days design has become a fetish, actually. Everyone is talking about it, but how many people actually understand it? There's a lot of buzzword about design thinking. There's a lot of buzzword about UX. So basically, design, is it what? Is it just decoration? Is it, art? And there have been people who have been talking about art and design. People start to relate it with art, and they say that art and design will change how the world will look, not how the world is. There have been so many people talking about it. So design for decoration, so if we talk about arts in particular, design, is it related to applied arts? Is it more of decorative arts, or is it more of commercial arts? We don't know. Nobody knows yet. It's still a question in everybody's mind. The fact is that a designer basically works objectively for others. He is not working for himself, and he's working with others. So design is always team driven. Design has to be people friendly. It comes from people, and of course along with a lot of planning, strategy, and a certain tool. So when people talk about design thinking, what they don't understand and relate is that design thinking is just one tool in the designer's toolbox. It's just one of the tools. We have different kind of knowledge. We have the tacit knowledge, we have the codified knowledge, we have the tooled knowledge. We need to utilize everything when it comes to design, not just one, all the three forms of knowledge. And if we compare design with arts, we can see that relation drawing. What is, designers work objectively with an objective goal. Arts is more of subjective work, self-expression. Designers work for others. Artists work for themselves. Designers work with others. Artists are just solo performers. We use a range of design and planning tools, where arts is just personal developed skills. As much as you have it, you're going to be an artist. But an artist is not a designer, and a designer might be an artist. So that's an advantage. And it's also like this another discipline, and which is very popular in India, which is, of course, we relate with things to technology, and which is engineering. And I hope, people understand that there are differences. Designers are working on human factors, needs of people. Engineers are working on making things work. Two different things. Designers have thing to people relationship, whereas engineers are working more on thing to thing relationship. So if we compare and relate, if we compare and relate, design is more thing to people, because for us, it is always about people, to get to know what we can get from people. Engineering is more thing to thing. We focus on needs of people. Engineers focus on making a product work. Designers focus on comfortable fit, safe, ease of use. Engineers would moreover focus on optimizing for function and production, manufacturing. Concept, human factors, and appearance are the most important for designers, whereas for engineers, it's more about details, functionality, and performance. Two different things, but when you're in an industry, you got to work together with the engineering team, with the marketing team, with so many teams, So design is for people, and related with science, we talk about so many different science, design for people, science, let's choose mathematics, discuss this further. We would think about better or worse. Mathematician would say true or false. We would think fit better, fit less. They would talk about correct or incorrect. So it's very mathematical in nature. Science is very mathematical in nature, and it starts and ends from zeros, and it's all between zeros and ones. But the thing is that the relation that design draws with every particular industry is the fact that it runs around itself between cultures, you know. So there are political, socio, psychological, economics, then industrial design, architecture, art, and then you have technical streams, you know, where is science, engineering design, engineering technology, and production. Where do we really think, you know, we are as designers is all up to us. And also for future people, you know, who want to get into UX, think of yourselves as designers and think of yourself, where is it that you place yourself between this cultural stream and the technical stream? It's very important. There are different measures, you know, the domain, different disciplines, sources and values that science, technology, design and arts create. And this is how our nation is now starting to build itself, you know, within so many areas. So for example, you know, right now we have uh, a lot of buzzword regarding the electric vehicle development. We do that. We do a lot of electric vehicle development, you know, we've been doing it for China, and we are also now collaborating with a lot of Indian OEMs and manufacturers that are now interested about this new thing. You know, there's big buzz was created, you know, the government has given a go ahead. So anyways, you know, the thing is that for us as designers, we need to solve people's everyday life. We need to focus on that. So now let's go back to the question again, you know, is that exactly what do you see here? So would you people like to give us some answers, you know? Anybody? Maybe a chat message or something, whosoever is.
A glass is half full.
Yeah, yeah. Can we have more?
I think it depends upon the user. Like if he just drank from the glass, it's half full, and like if he just poured, no, if he poured the water, then it's half full, and if he drank from it, then it's half empty.
Yeah. Interesting, interesting. Can we have more?
Yeah, see the shadow of that glass which provides the elevation.
Yes. More? Anybody else?
Half is filled with water and half is filled with air.
Yes. Brilliant. Can we have more?
I see transparency.
Exactly. Awesome. More?
And probably it's like it's an innovation and creation.
Yeah, why not? All right. So basically, you know,
just thinking like it'd be like if you have to break down, it's a glass and it's made of like it's molded into shapes which is basically made of it could be a toy or numbers. I'm not sure what is it. And there is also a circular shape. So two circular shapes which are not of exact size.
Yeah.
And it's molded into a glass which can hold any liquid. And of course, it has the properties of glass. But these are the shapes which are being used to mold the glass, which mold any liquid. Takes the shape of the glass container.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. I mean, so the thing is, you know, the point that I'm trying to say is that, you know, philosophically we can say maybe the optimist thinks that the glasses are full, the pessimist thinks the glasses are half empty, but technically speaking, it's always full. You know, it's half water, half air. And if we talk about the commercial aspect of it, we would look at the complete glass as 100% opportunity. And how do we assess its total value is by multiplying utilized capacity of the container by demand for the container and its contents. And there's always a sentimental value also, you know, that a glass, you know, it's what Bruce Lee always said, and I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. He said, be water, my friend, you know, be water, be sublime. And I think, you know, for designers, it is very important to be like water. You know, you need to immerse yourself. All of us need to immerse ourselves. We need to be there. Whatever we are designing, we need to be there. We need to visualize. And so design is basically, it's not about a way of seeing. It's various ways of seeing, you know, like you guys just said, you know, We had so many answers for just one, image. So many answers, just like that. Design has so many answers. It's just that, all of these answers need to be addressed, focused, thought of, filtered, and then design comes out of that filtration. And that filtration has to be done through a process. And that process is the design and the product development process. So it goes through various different stages. Now, what's most important when we're talking about design is of course, when we have so many ideas, we do brainstorming. There's so much stuff that is lying there on the board, and sometimes it gets cryptic. We don't know what to do now. But the very important aspect of design is sense making. Making sense is the most important thing in design. And sense making is a very interesting topic to be covered. I don't think so we have enough time today to cover all of that, but yes, we will in future discuss more about it. So sense making is basically a process by which people give meaning to an experience. So it's all about experience, guys. Whatever experience we are facing, whatever we face in our lives, we give it a meaning, and that's how we make sense of life. And it consists of both the interpretation of information as well as generating what meaning is interpreted. So both, it lies somewhere here. Sense making as an approach to studying and understanding user and the designing systems to serve them has been developing since early 1970s. That is when, probably around that time is when, people started talking about this word called experience a lot. And there's a difference between knowing and sense making. Knowing is power for survival. As much as you want to survive in certain, for example, if you know about wildlife, you might be able to survive in the jungle. You might be just able to pull it through. Things, all of us have seen Man versus Wild, but I don't know if that is helpful, for survival. But anyways, so, when we talk about knowing, making sense, language, so these are certain aspects, the natural aspect, situation, surrounding, and your environment that might help you. But knowing is basically power for development, and it has been happening for us since forever, since 10,000 BC, when man started killing mammoth for food. It all started back then. And that is how the human civilization has progressed to the level now, is only by making sense, guys. So you remember of a time, I believe all of us here have gone through certain bit of history in time. We have the early 1618 to the 1648, 30 years of war between Protestant and Catholic states in Central Europe. Oh man, it was massive. And I love that period. That is when, so many new theories came along. People started figuring out and started understanding so many aspects about the cultures. We started adopting religion. So religion plays a very important role in the development of our society. Then political upheaval, stock market, Belgium came up with the rebellion Rollin. Then national uprising happened during the 1820s. And then, of course, we are all familiar with the World War I and the World War II, and how amazing it has been for industrialization and how it changed the dynamics of industrialization, especially World War II, where Germany led the way. They lost the war, but they led the way in industrialization, and which is, I think, even certain principles that were set up back then are still being followed now. Then, of course, we had the oil crisis coming up. We had the Asia financial crisis. And then 2008 came with the biggest crisis, where so many people lost jobs. But let's talk about now, guys. The world has seen probably, I won't say as one of the biggest crises, but yes, coronavirus crisis is quite a big crisis. And, if you go back in history and you see, there's so much of up and down. There's so much of up and down. 10,000 BC, agriculture revolution happened. So that's a good thing. Rationalism happened. We had Plato, Aristotle coming up with theories, coming up with principles on which modern day science is built. Yeah, the age of enlightenment. So Renaissance, Renaissance period is so beautiful. That time gave the world the word called love. That was the first time people understand what is this feeling, for the other person that we have, brother, sister, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. We started feeling love. We gave it a name. We had the rationalism upsurge. We had the industrial revolution. We had the digital revolution coming up in the 1980s. That's when, after that, Apple and Apple and Microsoft created history. And then early 2010s IoT, and we have not seen the world go back again. So now it's become such an amazing thing. But then whenever there's something good that is happening, there's always something bad that is happening. So we had the war, we had world wars, we had crisis, we had financial crisis. So this up and down that happens, guys, this up and down that happens is the most important for evolution of us as a humankind, but also important for any kind of product development or product idea. And design plays so much of an important role. You have to have that futuristic approach, create a vision for yourself. And so to ensure, this is how I want to sum it up, is to ensure chaos under control, development or management of knowledge became very important that period of time. Knowing is power, so knowledge management became very popular. Sense making, but sense making is not about things to things relationship. It is about people to things, and that is why it is very important to make sense in design. Now, since we are talking about UX, so of course it's important that I talk about UX in particular. So UX, it's just something I'm sure all of us here is familiar by this man. He's an amazing human, and the way he has sort of understood life, I would say, it's very interesting, how he focuses on so important elements that create us as, modern day humans. So I don't want to show you much, but I just want to show you a little.
Hi, I'm Angie Lee, and I'm here at the UX conference in San Francisco. I got to ask Don Norman what he thinks about the term UX.
Once upon a time, a very long time ago, I was at Apple. And we said the experience of using these computers is weak. Experience, when you first discover it, when you see it in the store, when you buy it, when you can't fit it into the car, it's in this great big box, it doesn't fit into the car, and when you finally do get it home, opening the box up, and it looks scary, I don't know if I dare put this computer together. All of that is user experience. It's everything that touches upon your experience with the product, and it may not even be near the product. It may be when you're telling somebody else about it. That's what we meant when we devised the term user experience and set up what we called the user experience architect's office at Apple to try to enhance things. Now, Apple was already pretty good, so we were starting with a good product, making it even better. Today, that term has been horribly misused. It's used by people who say, I'm a user experience designer. I design websites or I design apps. And they have no clue as to what they're doing. And they think the experience is that simple device, the website or the app or who knows what. No, it's everything. It's the way you experience the world. It's the way you experience your life. It's the way you experience the service. Or an app or a computer system, but it's a system that's everything. Got it?
Yeah, so as Don said, and he said it very rightly, it's everything. It's not just about that website, or it's not just about that app, or it's not just about certain function that we put in that app. It's about everything. It's about perception. It's about how we perceive a particular design. It's about how we are relating to that design. It's about how we talk about that design. Everything needs to be thought of. And that's how we create a better design. So during the 1980s, UX became quite popular, if I'm not wrong. I mean, that was the time that sort of benchmarked everything, in one way or the other. And soon after, things started to change because, hardware was going crazy, Apple and Microsoft and IBM and whatnot, you name it, companies were going haywire with their products. And so, if we compare, the age where Don Norman sort of came in, as the UX architect, as an engineer, or the cognitive scientist, he created this basic aspect and feeling of owning an Apple. He's the father of this experience that was developed to own an Apple. So right now, if we talk to an Apple user, they feel quite, they have that sense of, I don't know what to call it, but premium, maybe premium or the rest. I'm so sorry to say, but I think there's somebody's mic that's on that's creating a lot of sound.
I asked Nikhil to mute. Please continue. Please, everybody, just mute your microphones. Thanks.
Makes it a bit easier for me.
Yeah.
Thank
Sure.
you so much.
Thanks.
So yeah, so in early 2000s, the UX entered the mobile and website. It entered a lot into that. That is when we saw a lot of web development happen into, taking it to the next level. We, as the IT industry flourished in India, we got a lot of work from the US, coming from Europe, US. Now we are probably doing work for each and every country, right now. But there were, and I want to talk about a couple of very brilliant guys. And if you guys ever get a chance to learn some theory, then I would recommend you Dewey and Buckfin. And Dewey and Buckfin are these two brilliant people, who have basically sampled the conceptual framework and study and analysis of user experience. That, of course, I'm going to share a few pointers with you. So, Dewey's views on experience is very brilliant. He says that experience is constituted by the relationship between self and the object, where the self is always engaged and comes to every situation with personal interests and ideologies. And I think he's very much right. I mean, looking at the current day world, I think that's how we sort of create an experience around us, So let's talk about Netflix, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about Netflix? Anybody wants to talk?
I think Netflix has a really personalized design and a really great UI and as well as experience compared to its other competitors like Amazon Prime and such.
Yeah, but in one way or the other, you've built that sort of perception about Netflix, right? Because it sort of imparts that experience to you, for you as an individual, right? It builds that experience for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so what do you think? Have they done the experience bit right?
Yeah, I truly feel that when I open the Netflix, I kind of feel like this is like the homepage or the entrance of Disneyland, because I see a lot of things going on there. It's very engaging. Like you see the trailers, you see a lot of pictures, and the homepage constitutes of so many pictures and so many visuals. It's very engaging. So it takes me to a different world. Like it's a beautiful escape. So it's very engaging and very, very mesmerizing for me, at least personally.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I Netflix sometimes, I know what you mean.
Nikhil, I think
it's very.
I think Netflix has done
Mehul
an
wants
amazing
to
job
add.
of how they have connected the physical world. Like when you go in a cinema theater, how the color combination of black and red comes into the play, especially with the Netflix, and how they have amazingly done with the color setup and how they have tried to relate with the physical scenario, like the environment. So I think that they have done a great job. And when it's talked about the experience, I think I don't know. I think even Amazon Prime or others have also done like quite fine job. Like though some of them have used a text more, and they are much more visually oriented. But yes, most of it's like has also become because of the cognitive bias, because we listen, okay, Netflix is so good, so good, so it has like a word of mouth floating around, and that's why we are all like, okay, Netflix is really amazing.
Yeah, yeah, quite well.
It's very Nikhil. It's very user centric content which is seen. So if you do like a survey
Yeah,
of 20 people log in on Netflix, all the 20 screens will be different. That's where the beauty comes in, because I would see what I want to see because they know a lot about me. And
exactly.
that's where the core lies. Why you tend to like it is because they show you what you like.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So
You can
now,
call it understanding everyone needs.
yeah, yeah. But now with that, I'm going to come to this different question, and I'm going to ask you this question now. But I want you guys to answer me once I finish the presentation. All right. So what my question is with all of you is that the modern day UX, I just spoke about one product, which is Netflix. And a lot of us accept it because it gives us that sense of personalization. Okay. And I completely agree with it. But don't you think as a society, all of us are becoming very self-centered? So this is my question, which you guys can answer once I finish the presentation, because all this is part of experience, guys. So let me move forward. So basically, Dewey's views on experience, also one of the major points that he mentions that people and setting are also changed by experience. Of course, if we have a bad experience, we'll turn our face off. If we have a good experience, we might go to do it again. Now we have specialized barbers. We have these fancy barbers now. We go there, they do our hair. They would do some interesting experience if we like the place. Is it clean or not? If it is clean and if the guy does a good job, we might go there again. Same thing. But to understand all of this is interesting, and I think Dewey has done it brilliantly. So the unity of any experience is itself a moving, fragile, fleeting event. So memories, our past, our present, our dreams, it creates our future, and it creates that vision, and it also improvises on our experience of things. So for example, if I owned a Maruti 800 back in the 2000s, and I loved that experience of owning that car, because that car was probably the best thing. It saved me fuel, it covered a lot of distances. But the experience that I have gained from there, I might want to have the same experience now, but maybe I will not find the same product that will go for 20 years. Now if you buy a car 5 years down the line, you would want to change it because things go south, because our experiences are changing. We see a lot of competition. So Dewey's view on experience is an irreducible totality, and this is where I just love this guy when he talks about it. And he mentions that every sensation that is created, if you're sensing things, thinking about things, trying to make meaning out of something, feeling anything, and our actions, whatever actions we have, and there's anger, there's guilt, there are so many, it all relates to that experience. All of that together develop that experience, and then we create our perception. And it's an irreducible totality that is eventually you're left with. And it's so brilliant that this guy thought all about it back in 1934. It's just amazing, and I recommend him to each and every one of you. Please go through his study. There's a lot of literature available on him. So essentially, we talk a lot about UX and we talk a lot about design, but what we don't really talk about is how do we get there? Everybody nowadays talks a lot about, okay, I'm doing this with my product, or I'm doing that with my product. Or, you go to these fancy seminars, where there are people that are out there talking about their product, but nobody tells you how they did it. Because it's not just a one-man job that did it. It's a whole team that did it. And how they did it is where the design lies, guys. It's the how. So we can, talk about, we can do all our W's and H's and all of that, all of that is being taught in the design schools. But what is not being taught is the process of design. And that is why I always talk about the process of design. So even, when it comes to digital products, and, nowadays there's so much of tendency that mostly even your physical products. So for example, in China, we almost had every new product that we were designing had to have a digital experience as well, So everything in China is now operational by apps. Even if it is a goddamn rice cooker, so you can operate your rice cooker. I mean, I operated my rice cooker with the app that I had on my phone. So the thing is that it's not just about physical products anymore, guys. It's physical and digital coming together. So it's not just one product. It's the whole ecosystem that needs to be built. It's the system that needs to be designed. So now, when we talk about developing a physical product, we can't limitize ourselves into just thinking that, okay, we have to just develop one product and we conduct a market research, and based on the market research, we start doing our sketches. No, dynamics have changed completely. So let me just quickly, show you what we have been doing, just so that you guys can, get a gist of what we do. So we do a lot of work for Chinese market, and Chinese market is humongous. When it comes to product development, this is one of the recent projects we did. And we had to go through a rigorous sketching exercise to come up with. So of course, this aspect of people are getting richer in China. They're getting richer. They want to do new things. They want to try out new things. And motorcycling, as it it comes with a lot of pleasures to it. I have had an honor, to sort of be a motorcyclist all my life, and I'm a hardcore motorcyclist. That's what I do. We do long rides across India. I love doing that. So I've had the pleasure, and that's why I'm in this field. So we developed this modern American chopper. Not exactly the chopper. I wouldn't call it the chopper, but it's more in that direction. And Chinese people call it chopper. But there were so many social, political, cultural aspects that were involved into building this project. And now going into production with the complete details, it's it just gives me happiness and pleasure to be able to do that. We worked with Yamaha Taiwan. We did a new scooter for them. So this is Yamaha Taiwan, directly focused on the sports enthusiast, so a deep study done on the sports enthusiast. And we came up with this new front fascia design update, Then, some of the projects that we keep doing, we do a lot of clay models, for our clients. We do a lot of sketching. Sketching is where we start to frame designs. So we do prototype development. So just to take you through some of our projects that we've done so far, very quickly. I don't want to spend more time here. And a lot of product, both in the digital and the just a second. So, so we were basically working with the urban development management of Shenzhen into working on developing a complete kit for, the cleaning crew, So just like we have our MCD in India, we have the urban development management, and we designed a complete cleaning crew kit, because we did a very deep research and identified that, most of the cleaning crew equipment is so old, and we redesigned everything for them. We did an ergonomic broom, we designed the complete kit, and it was such brilliant, project, for me to understand the Chinese culture, its people, to relate with, certain strata of the user segment there. So it was, and China as is very bizarre. We designed this fruit washing machine, for small fruits. You know, it's based on the principle of oxygenization, where, you know, it sort of disinfects the fruits, you know, because nowadays fruits come with a lot of polishing on them. So it's good in a way. And we did a lot of smart street lamp design, LED designs, air purifiers, robots. Yeah, we did plenty of them. You know, robots is something that China is very fancy about. They're experiencing it now, and robotics in China is on different level. It's just that, you know, I was able to work on so many projects with them is because SIID, you know, where I was working as a design director, is basically a company of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. So we had to do a lot of projects for them. We even worked with Huawei. We did a exhibition smart robot for them, exhibition robot used basically at exhibitions. We did an industrial robot. This was another brilliant project. We did it for Wild SC, this company based out of Chongqing. So this industrial robot is used in basically, you know, at the assembly plants. You know, it carries heavy load from one place to the other. We wanted to give it more of a wild look, you know, just like how the name is. So yeah, so SIAT, we did a lot of projects for Shenzhen Institute for Advanced Technology. You know, this is basically Chinese Academy of Sciences, a very prominent government organization. We did drones for them. We did service robots for them. Very interesting project, all these. We did this for Infinitus, you know, one of the very interesting companies that is basically into massages. And, you know, this microcurrent moxibustion massaging concept is very Chinese, you know. So, and massages is a very ancient practice in China. We are trying to, you know, sort of bank on that experience to design this product. So just to quickly show you guys, you know, what I have been doing and how I have been relating with design, and how much I have learned from people, culture. You know, I just always try to implement whatever my learning has been into whatever products we are developing. So there are many more future products that I'm very excited about, and I would love to showcase to them, you know, once they make it to the market. But yeah, so far it's been an interesting journey, and I think I've taken enough time now. Is it, Tushar?
No. Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, so here is where I stop, and we can now, you know, maybe talk to people. I mean, I love doing that. So maybe you can have some questions. I'm sure a lot of people have it.
Sure.
You were going to talk about self-centeredness as today's society, right?
Yes. Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, it'll be good to now have the answers. So who wants to start?
Yeah, so
yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm not a bit, but a lot wanderer, a person who dwells on ideas and very open to ideas of any kind. So I guess what I personally feel was like individualism is something, the individualism which came in 19th century in Europe, and then the technological advances, and after that the spiritual movement which happened, and also the financial independence. So all these things have nurtured the idea of individualism in a different way.
Yes.
So when we say self-centered, for me, I really don't know the term self-centered, because I kept on wondering, like, what would be the world where everyone thinks of every other human being, like how it would be, and I really don't have an answer to that. I guess for me, self-centeredness is something which is not negative, which is not positive. Like, I don't think so we can give any ideologies to it. I just want self-centeredness, if at all. I have to rewrite the meaning of it, or the way I interpret, or the way I can, relate to it is any person, any individual, who is a full expression through his body, through his mind, and through his heart. Like, the emotions he wants to fully express. It could be in form of art, it could be in form of poetry or something. Or also, if it is through mind, the ideas he can bring, the intellectual ideas he can bring, the new solutions he can bring. Or if it is through his body, the Art could be dance, it could be yoga, it could be anything. So if a person who is full form of his individuality in terms of body, mind, and heart, I guess when he's a full expression of that, I guess it becomes a great thing, a great expression of his being. I guess the conflict arises when he's partially expressing himself. Like he's holding himself back in terms of there could be many bondages. There could be hundreds and thousands of underlying things which may be going on. I guess the conflict arises when a person is not full expression of himself, and the full expression of himself is for me individualism, and which could be conceived by different people who haven't has the grasp of what an individual human being as. That person, that person or may have a different idea of self-centeredness. That's what I feel.
No, I completely agree with you, Tejal. I hope that was Tejal, right?
Yeah, I'm Tejal.
Yeah. So yeah, you're very much right. You're very much right.
Mm.
But the thing is, there's one aspect that I brought up, which is also about us as people and us as society. I think it is important to focus on certain aspects of society as well. Because society contributes to design a lot. And as much as I think of any sort of new product development that's happening around, it's very evident, and it sort of looks like and feels like that there are certain factors that are enabling the society to sort of improvise on this aspect of individualism that you just mentioned. So yes,
okay.
I agree with you. But, there's one aspect that the society makes an impact on design. Okay. But there is one more aspect which the design makes on the society. And I think that is what is most important, So, I think it is a very debatable project, and maybe, sometime later we can discuss this, but I'd like to hear more people's views. So thank you so much, Tejal. It's very evident, what your answer.
Nikhil, I had a question.
Yes,
Since you've worked extensively in the Chinese market,
yes.
And we all know that technologically they have really advanced, and manufacturing is the key that they've really mastered.
Yes.
Have you had kind of a glimpse of how they are really doing any of these government projects, or the projects which are for the masses, like say the transit system?
Yes.
Or how people communicate with the government, or any of the governance kind of projects. Any insight on that part of China?
Yeah, sure. So Mehul, I had, since I was working with SIID, and SIID was a sister concern of Chinese Academy of Science. So basically we were basically part of the government. And so let me just take you through this one project that we did, So this was basically a government body project, the one that I showcased to you, where we designed the complete cleaning crew kit, for the urbanized, the urban management development offices employees, who are basically just as, cleaners and sweepers on the streets, And we were asked to conduct a research basically to identify, that they wanted to upgrade on the equipment, but they didn't know what to upgrade with. So it was very interesting because, think about it like this, do you think MCD department from India would ever go to a research agency and tell them, okay, we need to upgrade our equipment and, let's do a research and let's design some products, So for me, it was very interesting to think that, the government organizations are thinking about this. It's very interesting. It's a very fast forwarding approach. Now, coming back to your question, the thing is, the government of China is very proactive. Second thing is that the reason why they are able to, become this factory of the world, when it comes to manufacturing, is because, there was a certain time period, the last 20 or 25 years, that they have spent in mastering production. And the reason why they were able to do it was through entrepreneurship. The government helped its people to create their own factories or companies. So I'll be very honest with you. If you want to set up a company in China, it takes 30 minutes. 30 minutes to set up your company in China. Now, the thing is, how are they able to do it is because the government has become very proactive. What they are more interested in. So I won't say that they don't have a very capitalistic mindset. They do. It's all about money for them. It's all about money. And one of the other things that I would also like to mention is that Chinese people, when you go into business with them, when you're going into big business or going into bed with them, it's like going into bed with them. You can't trust them. They are hardcore business people. And government of China sits on top of every hardcore business. So you can understand how hardcore the government would be. They are able to do this because they have a certain set of government that allows them to control its people. And that's why they have been able to do it. But the thing is, they have the power, they have the money. We can all see that now, with their inflictions with the US. And now we can see globally, how powerful China has become. But they were able to do it because there is a specific set of government. This can't happen in a democratic country like ours. But the thing is that they are the government is thoughtful. And the thing is, each district has its own, local government who is now started to think. So for example, when it comes to Shenzhen 40 years back was nothing but a village, right next to Hong Kong. And people from mainland China used to run, do this cross-border entry thing from there to enter Hong Kong and find jobs in Hong Kong. That is what Shenzhen used to be. But you look at Shenzhen now, 40 years. Can you imagine the amount of money and the amount of development that has happened? So yes, government is very proactive.
Thank you, Nikhil. Great insight.
Yeah, thanks, Nehal.
Okay, hi Nikhil, Snehal this side. So my question is, like, you have been working closely with Chinese customers, and you are also you just said that you are like, the target is basically eastern side, southeast, and maybe India. So now,
Yes.
how close are like we as Indians? Like we are now saying about Atma Nirbhar, right? So we should create our own softwares and hardwares.
Yes.
So how do you see we as Indians competing with a Chinese market and about the resources? So how do you see that?
Okay, so Snehal, one thing I'd like to mention is that when it comes to competition happens in equals, right? But here when we are talking about production capacity and we are talking about manufacturing, I don't think India even has a competition with China. So when it comes to manufacturing, India, there's no competition with China. But when it comes to IT, man, we are giving awesome, the kind of products that now we are developing, the kind of base that all us Indians have set up in the US. It's pretty amazing to see it, We are almost 3 crore people in the US already, 20 years down the line, I would definitely say we're going to see an Indian president of the US. Anyways, but what I'm trying to tell you is that your question is very much relevant, looking at the current day scenario. But what China has achieved in the past 20-25 years, to reach to that level, India needs to invest those 20-25 years. But I'm also going to tell you one more thing, that India, after China, India has amazing potential, there are so many factors that make us a much better option for production or manufacturing or even product development moving into the future. Why? Is because there are so many aspects, with India that is getting better. First is, language, communication. India and people in India are good with that, So even if, let's say, we have a lot of foreigners coming to India, and, even if they go to, so down south, everybody speaks English, up north, no, that's not the case. But still we are able to communicate, one way or the other. So if a foreigner is here is in north part of India or let's say west part of India, and if he's hungry, he can communicate and we can understand. If he wants to travel, he can communicate, we can understand, because we have this capacity of communication. So communication is going to be the key. How we communicate is brilliant than the rest of the world, you know. Chinese as people, you know, I've had this pleasure of spending a lot of time with them. They are very shy people in nature, but there are so many, you know, us Indians and Chinese people have so many things in common. So it's just that, you know, their culture and the way they are taught things is very different than ours. But there is so many of similarities, you know. So coming back to your question, I see India as has very high potential, but since we are living in a democratic world, you know, we never know what the next government is planning. Or we are not too sure, you know, if this government is going to stay the next 5 years, or after that, what government is going to come. So a lot of, you know, relation to that. I can't give you an exact, you know, explanation, you know, to this. If India will be able to do it, yes, India can do it if India stays focused. So let's see, you know, let's hope that India stays focused. But yes, we have the potential.
Thanks.
Hi, Nikhil.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Nikhil. One more question from my side.
Yes, please.
My name is Suresh Majji.
Suresh. Hi, Suresh.
Yeah, one thing I observed in that bike designs, please actually consider it is as a suggestion.
Yes.
One thing I observed in the designs, actually in India, most of the bike designs are, especially on the back wheel, one one kind of obstruction shield is there. It won't play. Actually, generally it is not there. Actually, that back wheel is splitting and spreading the groundwater on behind people.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So that is actually still in this new generation bikes also, it is a little up. Actually, that obstruction is a little up. So it is more inconvenience to the back people.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you completely. But can you see, you know, the thing is, Suresh, what is happening now is that, you know, a lot of manufacturers, the way they are designing these bikes are for them to look very fancy, you know, so that the younger generation can buy it. So you will always see, you know, some young guy on that kind of bikes. You will never see, you know, somebody who is 30, 35 or 40. They will never be on such bikes, no? So the thing is, you know, all of this is done to, you know, enhance the feeling of owning that motorcycle, having fun. So it's all part of the game, you know, it's all part of the product development process. So yes, I agree with you. It's not good, but yeah, I mean, we can't do much, you know, that's what the users want.
I think someone raised hand. Abhinav, you have some question?
Yeah, please go ahead, Avina.
Yeah, as means I'm a UX designer actually. So I am till now confused about one thing. See, we always think about user and we try to resolve issues which are more related to comfort and luxury instead, rather than thinking about what is practical. So for example, like in Volkswagen cars, if you close the door, there is a different sound. When Maruti, if you close the door, there is a. Is it important? Means to even change those kind of sound instead of working more towards user experience in terms of practicality of it.
So, you know, when we are talking about sound, no, Abhinav, try to understand that sound is also an experience. You know, sound itself provides you that kind of experience. So, you know, when we are shutting the Maruti door, we know that it's a Maruti door because it's making that kind of sound. But all of that contributes and constitutes into the experience, you know. So just like Don said, it's everything. How we open the door and how we close it. And I believe, you know, when you're mentioning about luxury, yes, of course, you know, for luxurious cars, it is very important. But when we're talking about a company like Volkswagen, no, Volkswagen is German. You know, they have Everything about Volkswagen is German. And that is why they're not successful in India. So, if we compare to the sales of Maruti and if we compare to the sales of Volkswagen, it's nothing. Whereas if we look at, Volkswagen is probably, I think, the second largest company, when it comes to cars, manufacturing cars. First is Toyota, I think. But the thing is that, yes, when it comes to experience side of it, even the sounds that the doors make, the sound, even, while you're sitting inside your car and you're turning your side mirrors, even they make, and if we go into superior high luxury, if we talk about Bentleys and Rolls Royces, every single thing matters. So, but what I'm trying to tell you is that, all of this constitutes to that experience, and be it luxury or be it, there's also one aspect of Maruti that we all like, that the kind of average it gives. So even if it is not the safest car on the road, but it is the most fuel saving, or is it just the perception, because I don't know if it really saves fuel or not, because how much is it that we really care about when we are sitting in a car and we are thinking about. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. I am more of a speed freak, so I don't really care much. But then there are so many other people, who really, for them, and India is obsessed with, what mileage? India is obsessed with mileage, I don't know why, but.
Kitna deti hai?
Yes, exactly. Kitna deti hai. But again, kitna deti is also experience.
The practicality of it, I was actually, I understood whatever things you said, but I want to understand the practicality of it is how much important in terms of user experience.
Yeah, so practicality of it, for example, let's say if we talk about Volkswagen, it is practical for them as a company and for the kind of product that they have developed. That when you close the door of a Volkswagen, it should not, so there are certain principles that a company sets, when we are developing a product. So maybe on that parameter for Maruti, it's not so much important, how the doors close and the kind of sound it makes. But for a company like Volkswagen, who ensures certain level of quality in their product, for them, it is very much practical to make it sound the way they want to make it sound. The practicality of, yeah?
Understood what you said.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Sorry to cut you off. You wanted.
Any more questions?
I had a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So I really like the presentation.
Thank you.
So this question might seem a bit off the topic, but then what do you think is an example of a bad UI or UX?
Can you repeat the question, please? I wasn't able to hear. There's some noise, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this question might seem a bit off topic, but I wanted to know what are the examples of a bad UI. Because Netflix, whenever I go through my Netflix categories, it is actually like a bit of a haywire scene because there is too much I have to browse through. So it's very difficult to find a movie. So I'm browsing for 15 minutes and I don't know what to watch. Something like that.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you because the thing is that for a lot of people, this might be convenient, to have that personalization aspect, and they might love it about Netflix. But yes, when you're talking about the, what to search, and if it is not giving you the right kind of options, and and I think sometimes it also depends on your mood. You just don't know what your mood is like and what kind of content you would like to see. And, I think Netflix is built on a certain AI platform that is, I think, still trying to learn a lot about you as an individual. But yes, certain aspects or certain functionalities, even in Netflix, are perfect example of a bad design. or a bad UI, as you're mentioning, and it happens to a lot of products. And I think that is why there's always product development, no, that keeps happening. It's always in the advancement. So I'm sure Netflix is looking into it. They're conducting their researches. They're asking the, research data to come in, and then they will work on a lot of that. So it's very cyclic in nature, A good thing about product development, and something that I really cherish and love, is this constant development that is happening. It's a chain reaction, it never stops. Of course, your product has to be successful, like Netflix, for you to be able to spend money on development, But the thing is that, once your product kind of makes it to the market, and if there's an upliftment, and then it's like a chain reaction, you'll have so many aspects about your app or your product that is going to be bad, and it needs an update, and it needs an upgrade. For example, let's talk about Windows. So do you use Windows?
Yes, I'm a Windows user.
Yeah. So probably, what do you think, which was the best Windows?
I think the 9th one was better because the 10th one is really, lagging my laptop. Yes.
Yeah. So, for you, maybe as a user, you feel that, there are certain examples of maybe bad UI, or maybe, the software is not designed well, or there are some areas where you feel there might be importance. But, the thing is, for companies to sort of work on, one aspect, they need data, and they need to have so much data that they can based on that data, they make the development happens. So a lot of times what happens is that, it's very important for companies, because, everything is an investment. The company will be investing in that product to make it better. So maybe if you don't like the 10th, maybe you'd like the 11th. For me, I think one of the most hardcore Windows, that I love still to date is probably the XP. It was so hardcore. Back in the days, I remember spending time in my dorm room. I used to play so many games. We were always on Counter-Strike, and I had the XP on, and it was just brilliant. So hardcore.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks.
Nikhil.
Yes.
This is Tejal again.
Yeah, hi Tejal.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for such an enlightening session. It wasn't a conventional session. It was just like about the concepts and ideas regarding the UX design.
Yeah.
So it was enlightening in a way that it has sparked a new interest. It has given a new perspective, and a new way of thinking. So I'm so glad to be part of this, and I'm hoping to see more of this. Yeah.
Sure.
And
Thank you so much.
yeah. So I used to be a coder, and just like few months I have started. I'm a part of training a course under Tushar, which I'm very glad to be part of it. So the thing which so just in a few months I have started in this field, and I'm reading, and we have a lot of learning is going on. But now what has happened to me, I was longing for such a thing which would really spark interest, which is more related to humans, which is more about us. And I think design is more about humans. So that's the reason I have moved away from technicality to design. But I find it very overwhelming. I like design in terms of colors and ideas, and in terms of our like as a human, as our memory, as a perception, and then there is other things like geometry and symmetry and sounds and structures. So when I read and I think and wonder about it, it's so overwhelming for me. Being a novice, I guess that's happening with me. So what could be a good, beautiful journey that I can take as a novice into this journey, where I have to explore all, where I have to fully explore the whole dimension of this field.
Okay. Very interesting question actually, Tejal, because and I also hear this from a lot of students that we work with, now. People sometimes get really overwhelmed. What you're saying is actually right. Sometimes you want it so bad that you just don't know what to do now. And I'm sure such situations arise with even the best of us. All of us go through all this. But there's also one more aspect that is very important. Is patience. for us. So I'm going to talk a little bit about not design centric, not focusing on design, but I think us as humans. So there's so much content flying around us, no? Everywhere there's content. You go onto TV, there's content. In our life there is content. You watch the TV, there's content. Everywhere there's so much of chaos. So, like I said, you need to start understanding how you make sense of this chaos. And it is very important, not only for you as an individual, because it's going to affect everywhere, your personal life, your professional life, or something that you just do for your own self. There are so many things that we do just for our own self. So I would say, take it slow. Overwhelming happens, but I think what you need to do is every step of the way, just keep making sense of things, because anything that's not making sense might not be good for the start, because as you mentioned that you've recently made the move to design, I think patience is the key, and making sense of every aspect of this learning process is going to be very important for you to move ahead,
Okay.
and just keep at it, keep at it.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Tejal.
Hi, Nikhil. I have a question.
Hi.
I'm Suresh.
Hi, Suresh.
I have a question.
Yes.
What makes a typical UX designer to turn into industrial designer? Someone who is actually designing web applications in IT field, typical UX designer. If someone wants to get into industrial designing, what kind of skills? What kind of skills he require? Can he really actually turn into a industrial designer?
It's quite difficult actually, because if you're already working in the UX UI industry, and then to turn into industrial design, I think you'll probably have to learn the basics. You'll have to get the basics again, learn the basics, because industrial design involves a lot of skills. There's a certain aspect of skills. You have sketching. Sketching is the most important, I think. To brainstorm and sketch your ideas is probably where it starts from. For us guys, it starts from sketching, and then you have to reach a certain level of sketching, and then there's 3D development, then there's clay modeling, then prototype development, material science. There are so many aspects that come in. So for I don't know if there are certain universities now that are offering such, but it's always good to study. It's always good to study. So if anyone who's planning to make a move from UI UX to industrial design, I think it's important that they get their basics and skills right first.
Because as a UX designer, they're already doing this wireframing, sketching. It's a part of your daily job.
Yeah, I agree. But wireframing and sketching on digital products and sketching for a product is actually quite different. Mm-hmm. Your thought process has to be different. So actually, for product design, what you need is the thought process. Okay. And because a UI UX designer thinks in a certain way, right?
Right. But see, what I think, Suresh, if you have focused, and as Nikhil said, it's about sketching. It is all about the thought process about, because when we are in UI UX, definitely we are in specifically we are in technical more, because every time you have to deal about JavaScript, some coding language, and then you accordingly you work. But in product designing is totally a reverse way. So that attitude and that focus need to develop. Then definitely anyone can, if he is a dedicated person, then definitely they can change. But it is not that easy also, as Nikhil says.
Okay.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely, Tushar.
Because you're mentioning the UX design in industrial designing. So an industrial designer can learn UX design, but not the other way.
No, that is also not correct actually. See, UI and UX totally is a different. But yes, it is not that easy. But if one can take effort, then definitely you can learn things, and you can because it is all about practice. It is all about focus and understanding and research that we are talking about.
Okay.
So if you're planning, then definitely, but you need to have that right focus, and then because see, it is not about one can do or one cannot do. It is not about this thing. Okay, but once you decided, now you want to move from UX, typical UX, to industrial design, then you need to clear your mind, and then you have to focus on the product design.
I would rather say that, it is, in fact, it is a good opportunity if you want to work with industrial designers, because, moving forward, like I mentioned, it's not going to be just about building physical product. There will always be a digital side also to it, So if you want to collaborate with industrial designers, it is good to work in sort of an organization where industrial designers and UI UX designers work together. Yeah, I mean, that is where you can have the experience of both.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Suresh. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
So anyone have questions?
Do we have more questions?
Okay. So now I think Nikhil has given very good insight, and I hope there are a lot of misunderstanding and misconceptions about UI UX itself are get changed, and we also talk about the industrial design also, and we are moving towards some developments. So I think Nikhil and me are going to collaborate in some ways. So as you know already, we are talking in that front, and probably soon we are coming up with some things, programs, where we can jail those industries. Maybe we'll take small steps, as I said, because we cannot change from one day from UX to industrial design, but definitely the path is there, and we are trying to move on that direction. Because it's myself, every time whenever we talk with people, industry people or students or professionals, I always say it is UX is not only about, don't restrict UX only about web technologies or mobile technologies, okay? And as correctly Norman said, it is about all, I will say, holistic approach around you, and that is what design is about. And yes, we are planning something, Nikhil and me. So Nikhil so we're coming up with program. Maybe this is like for professionals who want to come up with, and they want to. Okay, Nikhil, you can just tell about a little bit about what exactly. So coming from you, then I will add on that things.
Yeah, so I mean, it's very interesting. That we have been talking about this for a while, and I feel that it's also very important to work on something more practical. So I think what Tushar and me, we have been discussing, and we have also now thought that what we can look at is to maybe work and set up a program where we kind of work on more practical design solution and implementation of it. I mean, that is one side that we really want to see. And we want to probably do it by working on a product development exercise, Right. So we are working to set up this kind of a program where we develop a product, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I think, a lot of people that are here, it'll be amazing, if you guys can come be part of this product development journey that we will be taking. So I'm sure we can share the details soon, and I think it'll be very interesting to look at it from.
Because nowadays what happening is, like, people are a lot of confusion between first thing about in UX and UI. People are not even still, they are struggling. Companies are struggling. Forget about the employees and the people who practice design, but a company itself are in confusion state where so basically see, UX is, Nikhil and me share a lot of things in common, that is a passion about UX and designing and research basically. So, and there is a huge knowledge gap is there about understanding about UX. So our focus will be, it is not only about on just like creating wireframes or creating just kind of a screens, okay, but it will be as I said, it's like a journey. So it could be like an experience, it could be like, so how, whatever the experience coming from Nikhil, from my side, we have both that experience, the industry experience, as a designing student, what we have learned, everything will that come up in that program, and that will be more practical oriented things, and we try to create good products out of it. So that obviously we share details very soon. I think someone has raised the hand. Anvit, right? You can ask question. Yeah. Anvit, please go ahead. Your raise on chat.
Sorry, sir, it happened by a mistake.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so yeah, so hopefully, so today's session's intention was totally a different approach for a UX study. Hope a lot of people are now taking UX as a serious, and so there is, again, I'm repeating myself, don't think UX only for web and mobile. There is a lot of beyond, everywhere is a design, and maybe for product design, everything you can utilize these research activities, this particular UX as a experience for our clients, for our potential users, and for every project teachers, for enrich ourselves, and that we want to actually bring on table. So again, thanks Nikhil for giving his time, and hope everyone has so we definitely we will recording this session, so we'll upload once after this. Yeah, Priyanka, you can continue.
Yes, thank you, Nikhil. This session was really insightful. And being a user researcher myself, like I really loved it. Thank you, Tushar sir, for conducting this kind of talk. And I would like to thank everybody for joining the session as well. Also, I would like to announce the next talk that we have, which is going to be on 15th of the August. And Susan Weinstich is going to be speaking over there. She's a behavioral psychologist, and she's been working in the field of design and user experience since I think 1985, and she's worked with Don Norman and Nielsen closely. So this is going to be really exciting. So stay tuned, and you can get the details on our website. And yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone. It's my pleasure and honor. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a great day and be safe, everyone.
Yeah, be safe, stay at home, and work from home. That was actually okay. Yeah. Thanks everyone. Let's get together in next session. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.